Hello and welcome to this episode of the Handshake. My name is Amal Chowdhury and today we will be talking about how the Indian government is invoking greater realism in Indian foreign policy. India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar recently delivering the 4th Ramnath Goenka Lecture and gave what he called an unsentimental audit for Indian foreign policy. He contended that change is upon us as never before. The structure of the international system is indeed undergoing an apparently significant change. While a sense of uncertainty pervades the global order, the general understanding seems to be that the world is becoming increasingly multipolar in nature. Although New Delhi professes India's interest as being best served in a multipolar world, such an outcome is not preordained. India is a significant pole in the multipolar order. Compared to his predecessors, PM Narendra Modi has clearly reached out more vigorously to countries far and near and powers bigger and smaller, including countries that were hardly in the travel itinerary of former Indian leaders. What is evident across Modi's foreign policy establishment is an eagerness to patent a new era of realism. What sort of opportunities lie before New Delhi and what kind of challenges are ahead as the current administration espouses a mission to take Indian foreign policy out of its Delhi dogmas? Are India's aspirations in the emerging multipolar world mindful of sans comparison with any country? There is no denying that India's national power has shown tremendous growth in the absolute sense. However, the national power of any country as it rises tends to be compared and contrasted with other powers. Therefore, the future of Indian foreign policy practice will be acutely tested in how it recalibrates its playbook to maximize its options in dealing with powers both bigger and smaller. When it comes to relation with countries like the United States and China, the power asymmetry disfavors India. However, when it comes to dealing with most of India's neighbors, the power asymmetry favors India. Both these cases bring challenges to Indian foreign policy. Despite India's substantial growth in ties with the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, that is the ASEAN, as an institution, and with the individual countries, India's power gap vis-a-vis China severely limits India's ability to turn aspirations into reality. As such, in a clear material sense, there is not much of a rivalry between India and China. A recognition of this reality is required to recalibrate India's policy to not compete with China but to maximize India's gains and minimize its losses. India's growing emphasis on sub-regional projects through its Act East policy and through institutional mechanisms like the BIMSTEC, that is Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation, as opposed to the grandiosity seen in China's Belt and Road Initiative, that is the BRI, is perhaps a step in the right direction that needs to be followed with implementation and timely delivery. A better appreciation of the role of power in the international system and its impact on Indian foreign policy will augur well for the future of the nation's standing regionally and globally. Choices in foreign policy comes at a cost. The challenge is in knowing not only the cost but to engage in a clear-headed calculation of the cost that India can and cannot incur. While choosing new partners come at the cost of old partners, to what extent can India manage its ties with multiple poles of power in a purposeful pursuit of national interest? As the Indian foreign policy establishment aims to break new ground and move towards outcome-oriented policies, greater realism would suggest New Delhi be mindful of what its national power can and cannot acquire and hence to cut its coat according to the cloth. That would be the peak of Indian foreign policy practice in the multipolar era. So this is it from this episode of The Handshake. For more such videos, keep watching MyNation.